What do you want to talk about animals about?
Dogs or cats?
Oh, come on, man. Cats.
I agree. What about you,
Easy to take
JC?
care of.
Yeah, I can't stand cats.
What?
No, we have a cat. It's kind of a love-hate relationship. It loves me and I hate it, sort
What?
of deal.
How
Yeah,
can you hate it?
I don't. Maybe it's just well.
Look at this thing.
Our cat.
Look at this
I
thing.
know.
She's so cute.
But when I look at that, I see litter box and I see smells of ammonia.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that means you have a bad litter box. And
you
don't have enough ventilation in the area that the litter box is in.
Yeah,
that's user error.
Oh yeah. No, it's
human error, not user error, human error.
Yeah. No, but if I had to choose one or the other, I'd probably would go with a cat. Just how low Yeah, after all that. Because they're low maintenance and
yes, and you can leave the house for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, they're not gonna tear my stuff all up. Aside from the scratching that the cats do, but yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go team cat. So
dang, that's 3 for cat. What do you guys think in the comments? Let us know in the comments below. Or we can do a poll right over there, right by Jason. Where we can do a poll. It's gonna pop up. And then we can see who likes what. But I think the reason why I like cats, well, I've had dogs my entire life. So I had my first dog when I was like 4. And then I stopped having dogs at the age of like 19 because I moved out. Then after that, I just got cats. So I got one cat in November of 2019. And then I left that place. So that cat's still with my ex. 2020. And then I met Gabby at the end of 2020. And then we moved in at the end of 21. And then we got cats like 2 months after we moved in. And then we have Suka and Moya. And they're like super cuddly. They're like, I like the way that cats are cuddly because they're like, they don't always want to be pet, which is what I like. Dogs are always on you like 24/7. It's like, bro, leave me alone. But cats, it's like you can pet them for like 10-15 minutes and then they'll either go away or like they'll just like tell you to stop petting them and then they'll just sit on your lap, which is nice.
So why do you love your cat, Jason?
Yeah. No, like it's so I feed the cat. So like we've gotten to the place where it like wakes the kids up, so I've had to leave it in the washroom where it's litter box and it's food and all that stuff. They're separated and all that. But it like waits for me to go downstairs every time. It just annoys me, maybe is why we have such a it annoys me.
Love yes.
Yeah. And
like things following you, huh?
No, I want it to be out of sight, out of mind. And then in the occasional, once a week that I feel like petting it, then it can come around. But no, the thing
once a week.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I got enough humans that take all that from me. So all my affection and love and all that stuff is taken by humans. And then I'm just kind of, like you work all day. Do you guys get like that where you're out of words at the end of the day? Like you've worked all day and you're just like my wife Carla will sit down with me and try to talk to me and she's like, "You're out of words, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." So like the cat, unfortunately, I'm out of affection and all that stuff. So but I'm nice to it. I'm not like mean to it. I don't beat it.
Oh. Okay.
I'm nice to the cat. I feed it. I do pet it. I'd prefer it play with the kids than me. So
now is your cat a kitten or a cat?
No, it's yeah.
Isn't it like
it's like
2 years old?
Yeah, you met it. Yeah, it's like 2 years
Yeah.
old, and our daughter named it. Its official name is Lady Princess Sparkles Prescott.
Oh,
So
Wow.
yeah, we call it Sparkles.
yeah.
So
Okay.
Lady Princess Sparkles Prescott. Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, I love my cat, Thomas. He's a good cat. He knows me. So he knows when it's funny. He knows when I'm watching the game, don't come around. If I'm eating, don't come around. But so he spends most of his time on my wife, and she'll pet him and stuff like that. But then he'll jump up on my lap every now and then, and he'll crawl up, and he acts like he's trying to sneak. So he goes real slow, and then he'll lay down, and then he'll take his paw, and he'll wrap it around your hand, and like pull it down to pet him.
Yeah. I have a
And
picture of
he'll
that.
just he'll do that. Seriously, he will literally just take his time. And I was like, you're too big to be invisible. You know that, right? And so he'll lay down, and then he'll look up at you, and he'll take one paw and grab it, and take the other paw and put it up there, and he'll pull your hand down.
Let a cat put its hands on me like that. I dare it.
But he's cute. But I don't mind it because he knows when to come around, when not to come around. And every morning he's on my side of the bed. He's either on my side of the bed or he's underneath the bed on my side. He's always around me, which is fine. I feed it. I play with it every now and then. But for the most part, yeah, he's a pretty good cat. Much rather have it than a dog. Uh, dogs are. I feel like I'm on a leash when you have a dog because
Ah,
you can't go nowhere because you can only leave the house for a certain amount of time. You can only be gone for so long. You can't take a vacation. You got to take it with you or put it up somewhere. So no, I don't. I want to be free of that. I mean, the dog we have is Cleo. She's a nice dog. She's 14. I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm gonna leave it alone because other people are gonna see this podcast, and I don't want them to think of me as whatever. Okay, yeah. So I love Thomas. Anyway, next.
That was an
Yeah.
abrupt end.
Yes.
But what's been going on in everybody's life for the past month now? For me, what was it, the 26th? So like a week after we did
Mhm.
that podcast, the first one, I went to a video game event for Rocket League. Been playing Rocket League for almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years in like July.
Mm.
And I've been making content on Rocket League now for the past like year or two. And then so that was like the first time that I ever went to like a Rocket League event, and it was super fun. I lost my voice. I couldn't really talk much. Like after the team that I was rooting for, they played last on the first day, and when they were playing, I was screaming so much that I could taste the blood from my esophagus in my mouth because I was screaming so much.
Yikes.
But
Okay.
then I like dialed it back for the next day, and then the last day I went all out again because I
Mm.
was like, "This is my team; they're gonna win." And I was always just like, I was screaming. I wanted to be the loudest one there. And then I
Mm.
got to so the last day they did a little like ask the panel questions. So it's like, ESPN, how they have like a panel of like former professionals or like coaches or just like people who have been in the scene, and how they just like
Mhm.
talk before the game. They have that for Rocket League, and then I was able to ask the panel of like commentators and players, like I asked them why or what got them into Rocket League, and I was like, I got into it because it was free to play on PlayStation back in 2015, which is why I got into it because I had PlayStation Plus at the time. And I was like, "Ooh, what's the game of the month?" Because I would get it every single month, and that was probably the only game that I've stuck with since like it first came out for free on there. And I probably spent. It's kind of crazy because I haven't even spent nearly as much on that game as I have on games that I don't play anymore.
Wow.
what do you think?
Mm.
What do you think you got? Like 300 hours,
No, on the game?
400 hours? Yeah.
No, I have like almost 3,000 now.
Oh, jeez. I was way off.
I have almost
Yeah.
2,200 on my PC alone, and I got my PC in 2020. Well, summer of 2020. So it's been almost 3 years.
So
And
you're pretty
then
good.
I'm all right.
Where was that at?
San Diego. First time I went
Okay.
to San Diego that I remember. I don't know if
Mm.
I've ever been there,
I don't think you have.
but it was a lot of fun. I did a lot of walking. I got like an average of like 15,000 steps in every day because we would.
Yeah.
So I got a hotel that was like a half hour away drive. So I got a car to rent. Super expensive because I'm under 25,
Mhm.
and it was in.
Mhm.
So the car was gonna be like 240 for like 4 or 5 days, whatever it was. And
That
then
is high.
and then since I was under 25, they tacked on another $120.
Is that like a
Yikes.
deposit though?
No, it's the young driver fee. Like it's
Oh,
a
Yes.
fee that they can
Yep.
legally put on there because you're not 25.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then so like the total was like 350. It was the same price for the rental as it was for the hotel room. So in
Wow.
all reality, I probably could have just paid for a little more expensive
Shuttle.
hotel that was like right across from the event, and then I could have
Yep.
so my friend who I met streaming, he also went there, and then another friend also went there that I got to meet up with, and uh he stayed at the Hard Rock, which was literally right across from the event, and he said he got a shuttle from the airport to his hotel for $2. I was like, no
Yep.
way. And
Yep.
then
I was gonna say
literally
shuttle.
right along that like where his hotel is, like all down the street is just a bunch of food restaurants and everything. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
that literally would have been the perfect place to go. But honestly, I'm glad with the decision that we made because we weren't like confined to one area. We could like meander around and just like visit different spots in San Diego. So we stayed
Mhm.
in a place called Encinitas, which is a 30-minute drive from San Diego. And
Mhm.
uh so the last day, like all the days, we kind of just went there as like a home base to just like sleep. Whenever we would
Mm.
get there, it'd be like 11 o'clock to midnight whenever we'd get there. And then we'd leave at like 7, 8 in the morning. So we'd be
Good.
gone
So
all
you got a
day.
chance to be gone. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the last day was Monday, which was the day after the event. So there was nothing going on. So Gabby and I got like just a chill day in San Diego to where we could visit some spots. And then we went to, so the hotel was like right off of the highway. So if you took a left, like off the highway, and then you go under the bridge, and then there on the left is the hotel that we stayed at. If you were to keep going down that road, it would take you to like Encinitas, which is just the town. And then it was like I guess it was kind of like just like a surfer town almost, just like chill. There was
Mhm.
just the whole like downtown area was just food shops and like cafes. There was like no shops to
Yeah.
actually like buy anything. But then uh if you walk down, so we ate, so there's like the strip, like Broadway, I guess is what you would call it. And we ate at a breakfast restaurant. I think it was like Diner 22 or something like that. And that was pretty good. It was probably the cheapest meal that we had the entire time, and it was like super filling too. I got a breakfast burrito. No, I got scrambled eggs with like I think Mexican style or something. And then we ate there, and then we walked around for a little bit, and then so at the town, like at the very edge of it is the coast. So there's like a bunch of different
Mhm.
lookout spots that you can see the water from. We were just like, so we walked all the way down. So we parked at one spot and we walked all the way down to the other end. And then on our way back, we decided to go like along the coastline basically of the, it's like a residential area. So it wasn't actually the coastline because it was an elevated, it was probably like 200, no, 100 feet, 200 feet off the ground, like from
Mhm.
where the beach is. And then it was like an overlook, and then we would just go to the different lookouts, and we would see just like random things. We'd see like people paddleboarding out there. It was like a gloomy day, but it was nice because we were
Mm.
just chilling and getting our
The
steps in. Huh?
yeah, the tide probably didn't what time was that? Early?
Like noon.
Yeah, the tide probably hadn't gone out yet.
Nah, it wasn't
That's
too
when things usually
crazy.
clear up.
And then
Yeah.
after all that, we went to an actual beach. It was called like Black Sand Beach or something, or Black Rock, something like that. But then when we got there, like there was a bunch of cars. And then it wasn't really a parking lot. It was just like sand, and then they had like logs like showing you where you could park basically. So it was like
Mhm.
it was marked off, I guess, with logs instead of like paint. And then there was like a bunch of dips in the sand. So we decided to park in the back because we were in a Corolla, I think it was. And
Mhm.
as we were walking up to the beach side, we didn't realize it. It was actually the cliff side. So so on one
Yeah.
side is the path down to the beach, and on the right side there's like paragliding school, and there was like a bunch of
Mhm.
people over there. And then I was like, "Oh my, this is gonna be something." And then we went down, and it felt like you were gonna fall over every single step because it was like
Mm-mm.
it was not even. It was all slanted. There was
Mm-mm.
no actual stairs. And then
Mm.
we got down there. It took us probably like 10 minutes to get down because it was like I said, like 120 feet off the ground, like to where the beach is. And then it was just
Yeah.
like a spiral basically, but of
Mhm.
like just made up portions of the cliffside. So you just had to scale down that. And then so when we got down there, we walked across the beach, and then we saw that there was like this little like hillside, and I was like, "Oh, I want to sit up there." But as we were walking across, we didn't realize it, but there was a bunch of naked people. So
Naked beach.
there was like
Nude
just
beach.
there's just this big round dude, just big belly, just laying on the ground. And then we're walking along the shore, and then I look over to my left, and I just see a wiener. I'm like, "Oh my god, bro, what is going on?" And then we
You
keep
walked into a
walking.
nude beach.
As we keep walking further down, there's like more and more just like naked white dudes. I'm like,
Mm.
"Bro, what is
Mhm.
going on?" So then we like climbed on top of it's like the cliffside. It was like elevated
Mhm.
probably like 15 feet off the ground. So then we went up there, and I'm assuming a lot of people go up there because there was like a little pit area, and then it looked like people could sit up there, and there was like a bunch of footprints up there. But then we just chilled up there for like an hour or two and just
Mm.
watched the waves come in and out, and then just like people watch, which was very
Yeah.
interesting. And
Yeah.
then after
You're
that,
still on the nude beach, right? You were still at the
yeah,
nude beach, right?
mm,
Uh,
and then
okay.
we walked back, and then one of the dudes that walked down with us, he looked like our age. He was just nude next to his friend. I was like, "Bruh, what is going
What?
on?" Yeah.
Oh.
And then
Well,
so
he
the
you got
way
into the feel of what was going on, I guess.
back up was, oh my god, that was a struggle. Because even though I've been doing stairs every time I go into work, I only go into work like 2-3 times a week at most. So I'm taking like 13 flights of stairs whenever I go in. And then that is like that cliffside was probably like 100 flights of stairs, it felt like.
Mm.
Because you're just going straight up basically. There's not like so there's different sections where you can like rest at, and we probably
Mhm.
stopped a total of like 7 times, like as we were going up, because we were just like so
Mm.
winded from going up. But then after all that, we got some in and out, and then
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
we dropped off the car, and then we flew back home.
Mm.
And then we got back in at 6 a.m. Well, we got back home at 6 a.m. on Tuesday. And then I was like, we got back and then I went to bed at like 6:30. I woke up at noon, did a little bit of work, and then the next day I went into work, and then the next day after that, which was Thursday, we left again to go to Vegas for my birthday weekend.
There you
So
go.
that was a very long week. So
Yeah,
then
Michael Jordan birthday, huh?
yeah, so then we went to Vegas on Thursday. We kind of just like it was just a chill day. I don't even think we really gambled much. I think I probably gambled like $50 and that was given to me. I had like probably like 300, 200, 300, $400 just like given to me for like gambling because Gabby's mom and her stepdad are like very big on gambling and they gamble a lot and frequently.
Mm.
So they get free rooms at the Venetian and so they got rooms at the Venetian and they also got free rooms at another place called South Point that they frequently gamble at. So then they picked us up from the airport. We went over to South Point and they had a buffet there. We had a buffet. And then we went to the Venetian. And then that day, Colton got there at like 6, 7. Colton's my friend from high school. And then we just hung out, gambled a little bit, and then mostly just like hung out in the room and talked. Because we hadn't seen each other for probably like since his birthday. So like 3 months.
Mhm.
And after that, it was Friday. We didn't do much Friday. So we drove out to this one place because we were supposed to go hiking. And we realized that the drive was going to be an hour out of the way. And it was already like 4 o'clock when we got out there. So I was like, there's no point in us going out there because by the time we get there, we're going to have to drive back as soon as we get there. So then we just decided to go the next day. But then they had like smaller trails around there. And then, so Saturday was the 15th, which is my birthday. And then that's when we went hiking on the mountain. So we woke up at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then we got there at, I think we got there at like 11. And then when we actually got to the mountain itself, it was noon. And like the whole drive there it was like a mixture of dirt and rocks. So it wasn't like just a dirt road. It was like a pathway of rocks and dirt. And we were in a Ford Explorer. And I asked uh Gabby's Gabby's friend came and she brought her boyfriend and he works at like an auto shop and I was like, "You think we'll make it there?" Cuz it was like a lot of rocks and I was kind of worried that the tires were going to pop or something and we were going to like bottom out because there was a lot of like dips in the road. But we managed it
Mhm.
and it was fine. But then when we got to the mountain, we didn't realize that it was going to be. So Gabby said it was a 10-mile hike get to the top. And I was like, there's no
Nope.
possible way that we are doing that. And then we did a count of how much water we had. And we had probably like a total of 2 water bottles for everybody. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. That's not enough water. So then we
No.
just decided to, I think we went up like, we probably walked for like an hour and a half, hour 45. And then we just came back down. And then that took us like, we probably got up like a mile and a half, I would say. But we did get to like a little bit past like the beginning. So there's like you walk straight up, it's just like mountain for days. And on like the left and right. And
Mhm.
like the whole time I was making jokes about how like back in the day people were forced to walk through the mountains to go see their loved ones back in like the
Mhm.
1500s. And then
Yeah, a lot of that.
yeah. And then we had to stop so many times because it was just like an incline of like probably 30 degrees, 35 degrees the whole time. and then it was just rocks for the majority of the hike. So then we were all wearing tennis shoes. We didn't have proper hiking equipment.
Mm-mm.
So we were just like, oh yeah, it's gonna be easy. And I was like, nah, we were sorely mistaken. So then we
No.
got up like a mile and a half, and then we came back down, and then gambled some more. I think we finished that night with like we were up like $300 off of just like slot machines. I was at this one slot machine called the Power of 88, and it was just like it was about a dragon, and it was I think I got like 4 bonuses in total during the trip, which was fun. But I think if I spent my own money, I definitely would have lost all of it.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate to have like slot credit.
A buffer.
It was the
Yeah,
slot
buffers.
credits. And I'm pretty sure like the
Mhm.
total amount that we got definitely was less than what we made, or more than what we made.
Right. No, no, to me. Okay.
But then we left on Sunday, got back at like 6, and now I've just been chilling, getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I wish I had like groundbreaking, exciting sort of stuff that I've been up to. Just getting acclimated to this new role. You guys, I think you know I got a new job, so just really
Well,
getting.
the people that are listening don't know. What would you do before?
Well, I'm a UX designer, which I'm guessing no one knows
Nope.
what that is.
Nope.
Not a clue.
So a UX designer is the easiest way I can describe it is I'm a web designer, but I don't just make designs for websites. What I also do is I'll test that. So like say I was to like let's say analogy, like say I create an app that you guys use. Well, obviously I would design that interface. So the buttons you click, scrolling through, like going through the app and stuff like that. Well, not only do I design that, but I watch how you use it. And then I'll conduct interviews asking people like, there's so many different ways. Like I could ask them, show me how you would get from point A to point B. And I'd watch someone get through that. And I'd mark down like pain points they have, or that's just like one little example. But in a nutshell, so I'll make these things and then I test them with the people that use them, and I get that feedback and those insights, and then I'll take that and I'll improve it, and then I test it again, and it's over and over again. So you're basically continually improving your product. So it's more than just like designing pretty things and doing art and stuff. There's actually like I'll do phone interviews. I'll do interviews where people are in the actual we'll do workshops and stuff like that. So it's user experience design, not just design. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what I do. So that would be UX design. So yeah, I started this new gig in February. So I'm just kind of getting and intertwined within the team and stuff like that. And then so we just did some workshops where we actually had the retail people come in, and we did this whole process where we interviewed them, and then we just ran interviews with customers. So we were on the phone and figuring stuff out with them, and so I got all this feedback and all this insights, and now we're going to present it back to the retail folks. Okay, so here's everything that we found, and then so we'll go over that with them, and that's going to be this upcoming week. And this is just one little snippet of this entire like project. So that's kind of what I've been involved with. And then just my I know Patrick knows, but I don't know if you do. My mom's in hospice, so I've just been kind of working with that whole deal. And kids are doing good, and that's kind of I've been golfing a lot, so
Not
yeah.
old enough to golf for me.
So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to lately. Oh, actually, I just wrapped up this brand book. So I'm doing this. They're putting in this child development center in this town that I'm in, this small town that I live in, And basically, it's going to provide childcare, so after school care, daycare, and basically, my wife was on the board that pretty much got the funding for that. So we've got the funding, and now it's just basically they're building the building. So they needed branding and stuff like that, and so I had to submit like this professional bid to
Mm,
be selected to be the designer for this project, and my bid was
mm,
selected. So yeah, I basically was selected to do the branding for this entire facility, and so I just been working through the brand book. I met with the board, and they were really receptive to what I have, so I've left that with them. So basically, now it's just waiting for them to give me their final approval, and then so I'll be working on like the exterior signage, the branding, like the interior, kind of the facade and what that looks like and stuff like that, working with our facilities committee. So yeah, I guess I have been kind of busy.
yep,
That's
yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of a lot of design work, a lot of sort of stuff like that. So
Mm,
yeah,
okay. Sound pretty busy. So you were relatively busy.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
busy.
Okay.
How about you?
Ah, yeah. Shortly after we had our last podcast, I went on vacation.
Yeah.
So a lot of you guys don't know. So I'll just say my wife does not like to fly. So we drove. We went on our first cruise, a four night cruise, 5 night, 4 nights, 4 day, 4 night, 5 day cruise. Sorry. We
Where was
drove
that out of?
to Galveston,
Where's that?
Texas?
Texas. That's down by Houston, Texas, right next to Houston, but it's a little bit further south than Houston. Um, so it's like a port down there. So we drove down there. It took us. We left Tuesday. We got down there Thursday. Thursday we stayed at a bed and breakfast, which was really nice. We did bed breakfast Thursday night, and then Friday we got up. We had our parking all set up, and it fell through. So we were panicking, trying to figure out where we're going to park so we can get on this cruise so we wouldn't miss it. It all worked out. We got on the cruise. We went a day and a half out to Cozumel. Um, we had
Was
a
that just straight?
balcony. Yeah, it's a straight. Is it what?
No, nothing. You were answering it.
Oh yeah, it was a day and a half out to Cozumel, and then we stayed there for. We got there like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we left at 6 o'clock that afternoon. So when we was on the ship, we got a chance to explore the ship. It's like a city on a boat. It was weird. It was. I mean, I'd never been on anything like it. It was. We went to that casino. We went out fine dining. We ate 3 meals a day. It was the food was okay. Come to find out that the cruise line that we went on was they have like four different levels, and we were on the second level, second from the bottom in the middle. So the next cruise we're going to go on is going to be like not the top, but the next one up, closer up to the top. So it was nice. It was nice. We experienced some things. There's some things that we will not ever do again. We went to get a. We were supposed to book a massage before we got on the cruise, and they had a couples massage for 70 minutes for $199 before we got on the cruise. And we were like, well, let's book it. And then we didn't book it. We waited till we got on the cruise and we went to sign up for it. Of course, they didn't tell us how much it was until we showed up that next day, that morning. And for a couples massage, not booking it in advance was $499. I was ready to
Yeah.
walk. But my wife was like, no, we're
Oh
on the cruise,
no.
let's just do it. I
Oh
said, okay.
no. Oh no.
So we went ahead and did it. So it was good. I mean, I first of all,
That's
I'm a
a
massage
car
therapist.
payment.
I don't. Yeah, I know. I said, but I don't get massages, but I'll do it. And it was a good massage. We had stones. They did bamboo. It was 70 minutes. So then we were gonna leave a tip. I had like $20, $20 because there was two massage therapists. They looked at that $20 and gave it back to us because every time you get a service done, they add gratuity onto it already.
Oh.
So they had a $48 gratuity on each massage.
On each?
So that massage, yes. So that massage went from $4.99 to $5.88.
Or was it 600 with
For
taxes?
no, that was after tax. There's no taxes. Once
Oh.
you're out to sea, there's no tax. It's
600
international. There's no tax on anything.
Basically
$600. Yeah.
Well,
You better be.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Now
So
that's like your car payment right there.
Yeah.
You
So
think
it
you
was
could have
still,
gave it? You think you could have gave the massage better though? Be honest.
No. No, I don't think I could because I couldn't. I don't trust myself using hot stones because I don't know how hot
Well,
they get.
not in that portion. I'm saying like the actual massage, like where you have experience in.
At my best, yes, I could. I probably could have. I could have did better if I was.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
right now.
No, they did. They did way better than I could have done. Yeah. So we did that, and then we got to Cozumel. We went snorkeling, and the old black folks can't swim thing, running through my head.
But you
And so
can
I'm like,
swim.
you know what? I know I can, but we out in the ocean too.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't no joke out in the ocean. So, but it was like 15 feet deep, and we had life jackets and snorkeling gear. And I didn't want to do it at first, but once I got in the water, man, I was like, let's do this. I was in the water, going down, and I was just worried about the water getting in the mouthpiece, and then I suck it in and choke to death.
Just
No,
And
you
blow
just
it out.
blow it out. Yeah.
yes, I know that now. Thank you very much. I know that. So it was so freaking. It's salt water. The ocean water is so salty. Holy man! Cleaned
Yeah.
out my nasal passages like crazy. I was breathing like best I've ever breathed in my life after coming out of there. But anyway, we went snorkeling. We saw. We got to swim with the stingrays and the shark, and we got a chance to pet the stingray and hold the stingray and feed the stingray, and we got a chance to pet a shark. So I have pictures of all of that stuff. Then we got back on the boat, came back. Once we got back into Galveston on that Monday, we were going to go to San Antonio, but we went to Corpus Christi. We went down there, got a great dinner. Weather was crappy, so we went to San Antonio. We were going to stay there 2 days. It was crappy, so we stayed one day. Then we start casino hopping. So we went to casino in San Antonio. Then we went to Oklahoma. They had this nice casino in Oklahoma. We went there.
How much you spend at each one?
Probably the casino on the boat.
Well, gambling,
I,
not the
gambling.
actual.
No, the casino at the boat. I ended up breaking even because I lost $200 the first day and I won $200 the next day playing Texas Hold'em. So at the other casinos, it was like $200 each time we stopped. So we stopped 3 other times. So I won probably 2 of the 3 times that we stopped. We went to Oklahoma, and then we went to there's a casino in Iowa, in lower part of Iowa. I think it's WinStar or something like that. I don't remember what it is, but we stopped there. Then we ended up going up to Minnesota for Easter. So we got up there Friday, stayed in Minnesota, and then we drove back. And I was exhausted, and I had to go to work the following Tuesday. And then I got back, and I had to end up that Friday. My wife had surgery. My mother went into the hospital that Thursday when I got back because she had pneumonia. And my wife had surgery on her hand on Friday, and she had complications with that. So between my wife and my mother, I was pretty busy this weekend. Just this weekend, it happened Friday. Anyway, yeah, it was chaotic. Yeah, so everybody settled down. My mom's in a rehabilitation center right now, trying to get ready to come back home again, and my wife is getting better with her carpal tunnel surgery that she had done. We had went to ER 3 times in 24 hours after her surgery. Like we were in the ER 3 hours after her surgery. We were in the ER because they didn't tell us how to manage her pain with the medication that they gave us.
What was it for?
What was what? She had carpal tunnel, and she had arthritis in her thumb, left hand, and they had to take a bone out. And so they took a bone out of her thumb, and they did carpal tunnel surgery here. and they gave us pain meds, but they didn't tell us that we could take more than what they prescribed. So she was taking the bare minimum, and it wasn't working. And they did a blocker in her arm so she wouldn't feel what they were doing in her hand when they were doing the surgery. But once the block wore off, the pain came. So it wasn't pleasant at all. I didn't get any sleep, but it's all good now. Things are better. Life throws you curves, so it is what it is. Yeah. So that's about it for me. Went back to work, doing good. My mother ended up at the hospital that I work at, which was nice. I got a chance to go up and see her. So yeah, things are going pretty good now. Yep.
Always gets worse before it gets better.
Yep. And when it rains, it pours sometimes. But you got to just keep your head up, keep bobbing and weaving, and keep rolling, because it'll pass. Yep. It will definitely pass. So what are we talking about today?
How much time does everybody have?
Jason?
What about you, Jason? How much time you have?
Yeah, I got probably about 30 minutes at the most.
All right.
Okay.
So something short, sweet, and simple that we can each talk about 10 minutes each. Or about, roughly. You got any?
So we were gonna talk about religion.
That's not
I know.
30 minute.
I know. I'm just saying that's what we were gonna talk about. So that's fine.
Well, let's go ahead and get on that, because if it carries over, it carries over. But let's go ahead and talk. Let's talk about that.
Talk about religion in 30 minutes.
Well, if it goes over, it goes over. But let's just let's get at it. I'm interested to see like your guys' perspectives and
well, I wanna have like a trickle down. So you got to go first, Daddy.
Oh, wow!
Oldest to youngest.
Okay. All right. So religion. I don't like the word religion, because religion opens up a lot of hypocrisy. Because there's a lot of hypocrisy in religion. There's various types of religion. There's Seventh-day Adventists, there's Baptists, there's Methodists, there's Presbyterian, there's all kinds of religion. I think it's more of a person who is spiritual, a person who believes in God. I'm one that was raised in the church, and I'm grateful for that. I am not. Uh, I won't say that I was raised in a Southern Baptist church, but I'm not a Baptist. I'm just a child of God. I don't want to label myself as a religious person. I want to label myself as a child of God. I have a strong belief in the God. I have a belief in Jesus, that He died on the cross for my sins. I believe that He's done a lot for me. He's watched over me. He's carried me through a lot of crisis times. He's my peace in the storm. He is my salvation. He is who I serve every day. I was explaining to someone that I have more time behind me than I have ahead of me. The light that I see is much brighter than maybe you two may see, because my mortality is closer. I mean, any one of us can go at any given time. Don't get me wrong, but I have a lot of time behind me, and my time ahead of me is not that great, and I know that. And so I remember my mother always telling me, make sure you put your house in order. And what she meant by that is make sure you're right with God. Make sure you know God. Make sure you know your relationship with Him, and make sure it's solid. Make sure that you believe in what you believe in. And I believed in Him at an early age. And as I've gotten older, I look back on my life and I see how all the times that He's protected me from situations. He protected me from getting shot. He's protected me from accidents. He's protected me from a lot of things. And I'm very grateful and honored and blessed to be able to say that He did that for me. But I will also say that my biggest regret in life, my biggest regret out of anything I've ever done in my life, is not giving my children, my son and my daughter, that same feeling that I have, that same knowledge of Jesus Christ that I have. That's my biggest regret because growing up, I didn't want to go to church. I hated going to church, but I had so much fun when I was there. I learned so much when I was there. It was like I don't like doing it, but once I got there, I loved it. The best part of my life, the most enjoyable part of my life was when I was in church, when I was in the choir, when I was at church, when we would go to different other churches to visit other churches, when I was in vacation Bible school, learning about Jesus Christ and all the stuff that's in the Bible. That was one of the profound uh, staples in my life, And then I had the other side too, the street stuff that Daddy taught me. But my mother and Jesus Christ is the foundation of who I am. That's who I am as a person. That has never wavered, has never shaken, has never been anything other than that. Uh, and then my survival skills come from my dad, how to hustle, how to do this and how to do that, how to um, make money or how to uh, talk your way out of something. That comes from my dad. But the foundation of who I am is my mom. And I'm grateful for all the time that she beat me. And I'll say the word beat because that's what she did. She beat me and told me if you can run the streets Monday through Saturday, you're going to go to church on Sunday. And she made me do those things. And vacation Bible schools during the summer, I hated it, but she made me go. And I'm very grateful for all those times that she pushed me to go. And I guess I can't say that I didn't want to do that with my kids because I know how I felt. I should have did a better job of. I should have been a better example for my kids as far as like not forcing them to go, but going with them to church, we finding the church home and going to do it and learning about Jesus Christ because it's so, so important because especially in this day and age, um, the way things are going on, for me, my belief in Jesus is I'm trying to figure out the words to say. Anyway, I can't think of what I want to say right now. But there's an acronym that I heard, the acronym of Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Basically, that's what Bible means to me. And that is because when you don't know what to do or which way to turn, the Bible tells you which way to turn and which way to go. And it's tried and true. It's the number one selling book in history. It's tried and true. There's people that try to denounce it or try to say it's not true, or it's not this, it's not that. But everything that's going on right now is in the Bible right now. All the I'm gonna just touch on certain things: the transgender, the love of money, the just how the world is going. The world has changed so much in the last 2 or 3 years. It's just exploded with all the different types of situations and pedophiles being renamed as maps, and they're trying to make it okay for pedophiles to it's an insult to call them pedophiles because you hurt their feelings if you call them that. Well, it is what it is. But the Bible tells you exactly how to view things with the abortion, Roe versus Wade, and all that stuff. All that stuff is you have all these kids being aborted, you know, millions and millions of kids being aborted. Uh, but in the Bible, it thou shalt not kill, and so all of that it just gives me the uh, guidance that I need to walk through life and know and have a stance on stuff because they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And there's a lot of stuff out there that people fall for. You got these lukewarm Christians that, like, I don't remember who it was that Beyonce said you can go in a club Saturday night and you go to church on Sunday. No, that's not how that works. That's a lukewarm Christian. And you got all these satanic things being on TV now. Um, with Sam Smith and all these rappers dressing up as Satan and all that stuff. They're selling their souls to the devil. People think, oh, that's just okay. No, it's not okay. There's a spiritual warfare going on right now, I think, and it's you can see it every single day. There's a spiritual warfare going on with from politics to entertainment to uh, you got all these mass shootings going on right now. You got all these people that are confused and disturbed because a lot of them, I don't know if they believe in God or not. I don't know, but I know that just for me, that's my calming effect. And I'll just end with this. Someone asked me, "What's the difference between the difference between somebody that believes and someone who doesn't believe?" Is I use this analogy. You could put two people down, a believer and a non-believer, in a dark alley. God will show both of them the way out, but the only one that believes in God will see the way out. And that's how I've always perceived it to be. And it's just for me, no matter what's going on in the world, I can turn to Him and be at peace because I know He's going to protect me and He's never going to put me in a situation that I cannot handle. So I'll just end with that as far as religion is concerned.
Yeah, no, I see a lot of I have a lot of similar types of views on certain things. Um as I've grown older, I'd say I've gotten kind of a distaste and a bad taste in my mouth for religion, specifically Christians.
Hmm.
Um I think some of the most evilest people and the most opposite of Christ-like qualities are what we call Christians today. I look at just like, I look at a lot of America and just like this Trump mentality, um, and like people that are supposed to be that call themselves Christians are the most unwelcoming. Uh, I don't want to say racist, but like uh, divisive type of people. Um, and so as I've gotten older, I used to think that religion was a very communal thing, but now I'm starting. My faith and my religion is more spiritual to myself. I don't lean on the community of church and stuff like that. We could just go back to like, the pedophilia, like pastors, what they would do, just like taking advantage of young people, just the amount of people that have died in the name of religion. So again, it's just, I don't know. I have a hard time with organized religion now, as it is today, and just even in the past, what it did to people, and um, trying to be the arbiter of what's right and wrong when what's really right and wrong is it's in the words of the Bible. So I don't know. I really have I just, as far as going to church, I do take my kids to church. I go to church, but as far as like being a part of the church and like thinking that the church is integral to a relationship with Christ, I don't believe that anymore. Um, and then as far as like casting stones, like you mentioned the transgender thing, while yeah, the way I look at that is it's like, so you can believe that being transgendered or being homosexual is a sin, but why are we casting stones on those? Let the Lord be the one to determine that. Like, because I think about that, like, so if I tell a little white lie to someone, or if I murder someone, to us, those are terrible sins and there's weight there. But because the way I see it to the Lord, those are both sins. Like those are both imperfections.
Hmm.
So like there's no weight there with the Lord. You either sin or you don't. So like to say that being transgender is more evil and more sinful than what our politicians are doing or what's going on in the world. Like I guess I don't agree with that. I think if it is a sin, let the Lord decide that. And don't make policies and don't make all these decisions based off of your own personal beliefs. Like the let the word be the truth, and that's where I guess I have a problem is like we're picking and choosing what's a sin and what's not. Like we're like so right now the country's on this whole transgender thing, and tomorrow will be something else. But I just I don't agree with that, and basically like looking at what Christ his message was all about love, and so whether you believe it's a sin or not, let the Lord decide that. And to my core, I think people should be able to love who they want to love. So like if you're gay and you want to love someone that's in the same sex as you, that is your decision. Whether that's a sin or not, that's not for me to decide. Now, what is for me to decide is if I want to be involved with that. Like if I want to be a part of that. But to say you can't love who you want to love or you can't look how you want to look and you can't be how you want to be, I don't agree with that at all. Again going back to the transgender thing. I know we're talking religion. I don't want to go to that. But as far as like pronouns and stuff like that, dictating how I should address you, I don't know. That there's one thing for you to live your life and be how you want to be, but when you start to influence how I live my life and how I am,
Mm-hmm.
I sort of have a problem with that. But there's a big thing about not being a dick, right? Like, so you want to be called Patrick and you want to be called Dewey, but what if I call you something else? That's not cool. So, like, I think like if your pronoun is Z or whatever have you, if I'm not comfortable with that, that's fine. I'm going to call you by your first name. But like to say that I have to call you a certain way, I don't know if I agree with that. But again, there's a social contract within a community that we all help each other and we make each other stronger. So if it's very important for you that you identify this and I refer you to that, to some degree I'm going to align with that, but at the same time I'm not going to let you control and dictate how I live my life. So there's a whole lot of stuff that I think people are just too much in each other's business. If I'm gonna be honest, like you shouldn't care so much about what a person aligns as and what their pronouns are and this and that. And I think religion is starting to be tied in with politics, and maybe it's always been that way. But like, there's these lines being drawn under the name of religion. Like the right is supposed to be this moral compass of religion, where they're really not at all. They're, if anything, they're just as bad as the left. And then the left is like polar opposite of that, where they're trying to align with people that are more secular. And I'm sorry, you just got two horses running the same race to this evil place. And I don't know. I have a bad taste in my mouth for religion as it is today. And I think you can have belief in Christ, belief in your God. Me, it's personally Christ, but again, it could be Buddha, it could be whoever that person is, and you should be able to worship that deity, and you should be able to do your faith, and it shouldn't influence what's going on, I guess, in the world to the degree that Christianity is. And I say Christianity is a man-made entity because it's not following God and Christ's principles. I mean, if you look at what's going on in the world today under the name of Christians, I look at Ron DeSantis and I look at what's going on in the right. I'm sorry, in my opinion, it's not following the principles of Christ. And then you think about Christ. Christ was the biggest socialist there was. I mean, if you really look at what he did and what he did, uh, he was basically providing for everybody, and the whole idea of capitalism, what we have today, it's very anti-Christian. And I'm not saying get rid of capitalism because I love my country and I love what we have, but at the same time, there's a lot of like polar opposites of what people are saying as opposed to what is being done under the name of religion. And I guess I could just keep going, but I'll end it there. That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
in a nutshell. I don't know if that's a nutshell, but that's kind of how I look at. I'm very pessimistic of Christians and the way that the world is viewing Christ right now. And I think that's why we're having some of these problems right now. It's not that Christ doesn't exist, it's that the Christians aren't Christ-like anymore, if that makes sense. So
Mm.
that's kind of what I got.
I think for me, I grew up. I mean, I think it was just difficult for me because I was being torn two different ways my entire life, basically, between between my dad and my mom. Certain times I'd be with my mom for longer than my dad, so like it was impossible for me to, like what you were saying earlier about how you wish you could have done more in terms of our faith and stuff. I think you did everything you could do. There's not much you could do in your circumstance because you only had us for, I mean, technically over the course of the 16 years, you had us for less time than she did. So there's was never enough time for you to build a foundation for us to have the same thing that you did, because you would have it to where you were going to the same place every single Sunday. But you would, like, when we were growing up, we would go to our mom's Lutheran church when we were with her, and then we'd go to
Mhm.
I don't know what we'd go with you, to be honest, because we kind of stopped going after like 2008. I think, well, both sides kind of stopped going after a certain point. But
Mhm.
I don't know, for me, I never was really interested or like cared about God in that type of way. Like when I think of God, I think of, well, in terms of me and like how I believe, I'm not like I'm not like a spiritual or a like Christian or anything like that. I identify as an agnostic. Like I believe there's a higher power, but like I don't know exactly what it is, and everything out there right now. I haven't really like done my research on other things, but it nothing really sounds right to me except for like the whole thing of, I believe that God and the way that like it's perceived today is all wrong, because I think that we are, like, everybody here on this planet are gods, in terms of like when we die, we go, well, I guess we turn into everything, which is in the Bible. They're talking about how God's in everything, and how like when you grow up, you're when you go to school, you hear about how energy is transferred. It's never like dissipated or anything. Energy is always there. It's just changed. It's not the same thing all the time, but it's never actually gone. So in terms of that, it's like I view myself as being one piece of the puzzle to God, because I think once we all die, once we're all not of the same, or like of this physical body, conscious mind, I think we all turn into one deity, and we are just, I guess, everlasting. Because I guess reincarnation could be a thing in my head, because if I if I'm thinking about it rationally, it's like I wouldn't have the capabilities of having the memories of every single past life that I've had. It would be impossible for my brain to do that, because I can barely keep up as it is now. So I
Mhm.
think our physical bodies are like, it's just a it's just a body for us to learn and make mistakes and just try and be the best forms that we can be. And then when we die, it's our time to die. And like no matter of when it is, like if you were diagnosed with cancer as a baby, it was your time to go. That's what I believe. Like if I feel like it's almost destiny, almost, because my viewpoint is we're all gonna end up in the same place regardless of what we believe, because we are all the same thing. We just have had different upbringings, but at the core of everything, we are all the same, is what I truly believe. So in terms of religion, I don't align with anything in any religion, to be honest.
So, can I ask you a couple questions?
Of course.
So, what's your stance on like the Big Bang Theory? What do you feel about that?
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
How nothing can turn into something. And if that's the case, I would think of it as like it wasn't nothing. It was there was obviously something there, and something had to create that something. And then if that's the case, then the whole thing about like how we create things in our daily life and everything that surrounds us, everything that we have, our clothing, our muscles, it's all a lie. Because if God is what we all perceive him, or what religion perceives him as, it would mean that everything that we know and everything that we like, I don't know, like our general common sense is based on a lie then. So like it doesn't make sense to our minds personally, to me, I guess. Any other questions?
Yeah, no, because I think about that too, and I agree with you as far as it doesn't make sense, the Big Bang Theory. It seems like just a limited solution that scientists could provide to um, provide like feed the appetite of people that don't believe in the creator or something like that. And I'm curious about that. The next question I have for you is, so if just hypothetically, if there was, say there was this house and it was completely haunted and haunted by like um people telling stories. Oh, I saw this in there. Or there's historical record of people dying in this house. And people are just talking about how haunted it is. And then I thinking about being agnostic, or not even agnostic, being what's the word I'm looking for? Atheist, or not believing that there's something. By theory, you should be able to go into that house and stay the night and not have one little bit of hesitation or reservation or being scared at all.
Not necessarily. I think atheism, you can still have doubts about supernatural. Supernatural doesn't necessarily mean God.
But I thought my understanding was with atheists, when you're dead, you're dead. There's no spiritual magic sort of God. It's we are binary, like ones and zeros, or not ones and zeros, but we are created DNA built from this earth. It's everything's like when you're dead, you're dead. There's no like magical sort of stuff. That's what atheist is. Atheist is not believing in anything supernatural, not believing in a deity, not believing you're dead, you're dead. Life is basically a very biological, scientific type of thing, and that's I guess what I don't understand, because you would think that most people.
I mean, we'd have to get my sister on here because
Yeah, well,
I'm not the one to
okay,
ask about this.
okay. So, but I'm just getting you get what I'm getting at, right? Like, so if you are atheist or you don't believe in any of that stuff, no ghosts, no magic, none of that. It's just this is the really real world. You should be able to go stay in a haunted house or a house where people have died without any type of like fear or any type of like hesitation. Like it should be totally fine. But if, and I've asked people that are atheists this, they have reservations. They're like, no, I wouldn't go stay. Why? Because there's something inherent inside of us. At least this is what I believe. There's something inherent inside of us that believes in good and evil. And so if you're going to believe in, like, you could even pose a question, do you believe that there's demons, like that there's bad stuff in this world? Most people are going to say yes. So if you believe that there's demons and there's evil, why would there not be a flip side of that coin of good? So like the yin and the yang. And like that's what I guess I have a hard time of like believing that this is just an accident and a big bang. Like there's so much polar, like you can feel like that there's a good, like you said, there's a spiritual warfare, Patrick. Like there's
Yes, there
this,
is.
there's like you can feel it. Like there's this yin and yang going on, like a good and evil like pulling right now. And I guess if we were just a bunch of atoms that just accidentally happened, I guess I don't understand why there even is a concept of good and evil. Like why
It's
aren't we just?
balance.
Mm,
But
yeah,
Balance.
where's that balance come from?
Well,
yeah,
everything has balance. So
yeah, I.
you can go.
There's a reason. I'm sorry. I'll just like, uh, how I always say I don't believe in coincidence. The reason why I don't believe in coincidence, I believe everything happens for a reason. God allows things to happen for a reason. For me, God allows things to happen to make us stronger. Like I said, He will never put us in a position we can't handle. And what you say, Jason, about people who don't believe in God, but they can believe in evil. Then if you believe that there's some evil or something strange or something like, can an atheist go and sleep in the cemetery? And if
Yeah,
not, why not?
but without
Because they
getting the
think it's creepy.
heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but if you get the
Why?
heebie-jeebies for that, exactly,
Why?
because they believe it's something inherently. But that's the quietest place you can go. You ain't got to worry about nobody bugging you for nothing. It's
Hmm.
quiet. Yes.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to say is my personal belief in every single soul that's ever been born, that's ever lived, has a spot in their soul, a spot in their body that they have to fill with. They can only fill it with, this is just my opinion. They can only fill it
Hmm.
with Jesus Christ. There's people that try to fill it with money. They try to fill it with drugs. They try to fill it with sex. They try to fill it with clothes. They try to fill it with all this other stuff. But it only they like to go shopping. So when they go shopping, they get this high. They get this adrenaline rush when they go shopping. But when they get home, they get depressed because that's gone. Because then it's like they're trying to fill it with something that they can't fill it with. And my personal belief, the only way you can fill that void in your life that people are there's so many lost souls out there. You can only fill it with Jesus Christ. Because the reason why I say that is because He is the creator and He's the only one that can satisfy what we're searching for. But a lot of people won't allow Him in. And I believe that He taps everybody on the shoulder. He comes to everybody. And you were asking about the good and evil. Um, the thing about the good and evil is God reigns in heaven. Who reigns on earth? Who runs earth? Jason, do you know?
Hmm. Yeah, Satan.
Satan runs earth. So
Hmm.
that's why, and why is that? Because Satan wanted everyone to bow down to God. And God said, no, I want people to choose me, not to have to be with me. And so that's why the good and evil is going on so much. There's so much going on with this, and there's a book called Return of the Gods, and it's to me is prevalent in what's going on in the world today. The god of Baal, the god of Ishtar. God of Baal is the love of money and the root of money, and it's a bull. The bull is the emblem of Baal, and where's the bull displayed at? Wall Street. What
Hmm.
what organization has the bull as a logo? Merrill Lynch. What's that have to do with money?
I
Okay.
think you going
No, this
down
is
a rabbit
no,
hole.
no, no, no. This. No, it's not a rabbit hole. It's something that's going on. Then the god of Ishtar. God of Ishtar is a god that can. That's a man that can become a woman, and a woman that can become a man. So you can see those things being very prevalent now because 2 years ago, did you hear about the transgender like you're hearing it now? And they are a small, minute population, but all of a sudden we gotta address them as she, he, thee, they, it, whatever. That's how they want to be addressed.
I don't think it was ever a small, minute population. I think it was just a bunch of people who were too afraid to be themselves, or if they were themselves, they would get killed for it, like literally killed for it.
I think
Just like
yes, yes and
how
no.
black people in our
Yes and
country
no.
used to be killed in the South if they were not a slave.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the
I
same
and
thing.
I yeah.
I wouldn't go that far because of I wouldn't go that far in the sense of you can't equate transgender people getting killed to people getting killed as slaves because the numbers don't
No.
match up at all. You
And I
can't even
Well,
put that in the same
we're talking about human
spectrum.
beings, but they're human beings.
I
It doesn't
understand. I get
matter.
that. I get that. I get that. But
We're not
you
comparing
talk about people
traumas. We're
being
just comparing humans to humans. That's not
yes. Well,
it's not
people are killed for little things, Dewey. I get that because of being transgender. You can get killed for being Asian. You get killed for being Jewish.
but
So
think of it
it's
as a
still wrong.
but you also have to think of it like we didn't choose to be black, and I think of it as they didn't choose to be transgender. They didn't choose to want to
Mhm.
be a different gender. Like I
Mm.
I feel like if they had a choice, they wouldn't want to choose. Like they wouldn't want to change
Oh.
because it's harder in society to do that.
No, I'm just gonna say I think it is a choice. I think it's a choice of the flesh. It's a choice what you how you feel you want to be. That's why I have a hard time with the transgender because you got men that want to be women that want to compete in women's sports. You got men that want to be women that rape women and go to prison, women's prison, and rape other women. So that in that instance, it's a choice. They're choosing to be that. They're taking advantage of that. And the thing I have about I'm surprised that the feminist movement hasn't stepped in because they're infringing on the feminist movement by the men wanting to be women because they're not women. The biggest question out there right now is what is a woman?
Well,
That's the biggest question out there.
the feminist movement is about promoting being feminine and like promoting women. It's not about men wanting to be women. If anything, they'd want that because they
No,
love women. That's
yeah,
all it's
but
about.
yeah,
And
it is
equality.
about, but it's not about a man being a woman. It's about a woman being a woman. The feminist movement is not going to support a man trying to be a woman because it infringes on who she is as a woman because it makes her less of a woman. If a man wants to be a woman, it makes a woman less of a woman.
Well, in your point of view,
Okay,
maybe
that's
not in
okay.
theirs. Because
Yeah, that's
we
true.
aren't women. We can't
Well,
presume to know what they
there's
think
some
and
there, there's some men that say women that men can menstruate, that men can be pregnant, that men can have babies. That movement is out there now.
I mean, I'm sure there are some men, but they're not fully biologically men can do that.
Well, no, and I see both of your guys' points here. To like what you were saying, Patrick, I think you are correct. It is a reality. Like there's some doctors that have to be respectful of a transgender person
Yes.
menstruating. Like they could lose their light. So there is some of that. And then it's
it's just to be clear, it's a woman that's a man that's menstruating. It's not a man menstruating. It's a woman that became a man that's menstruating because a man cannot menstruate.
but no, what I'm telling you is that they have to be respectful of that. Like
I get the respect part, but I'm saying it is not a man that's menstruating. It's a woman menstruating. And the problem comes in is when they want society to be delusional as they are and thinking that they are a man when they're not a man, they're a woman.
Like, I feel like this conversation sounds a lot
yeah.
like what old white people would say about black people wanting to become humans because we used to be 3/5 of a
Yeah.
human. I feel like this is the exact type of conversations. Every single generation has had this conversation in
No,
some
Yeah.
point.
no,
And I
I
think
would agree to disagree with that statement, but you're entitled to have your opinion, and I respect you for having your opinion.
And where I kind of maybe I disagree with Patrick or with you, Patrick, as far as like it being a
Which
choice.
Patrick?
Uh
he refers to me
the
as
older
Dewey.
yeah, the
I
older
know,
the
I
older
know.
Patrick. I personally and again, I don't know biology and science to like a high degree to where I could say, yeah, I'm a scholar in this. But I think that people are born a certain way. So, with that premise, whether you believe it is, so you could argue that, okay, what is the purpose of a human being? A purpose of a human being at the genetic level is to procreate, to basically mate with a male and a female as defined
Yes.
by having
Yes.
a penis and a vagina. So that is to procreate your species, and that is seen all through the animal kingdom. Whereas if you argue that homosexuality and lesbianism, that is not the
It is.
purpose.
It's
Like
in the animal kingdom though.
when they can do that themselves, like when they can, I can't, is it asexual? When they're able to reproduce on their own, they can. But there's no way that you can continue a species
Well, yeah,
with the
but
same sex.
I'm saying, but homosexuality is still a thing in the animal kingdom that isn't just humans.
Right. So, and I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. I'm actually backing you up here. So basically, what that means is that there's potential genetic anomalies that are happening. We don't know what that's from, and I'm not saying that homosexuality and lesbianism is increased. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that people are born a certain way, it could potentially be a genetic anomaly, or there's something within the DNA sequence that causes them to want that, and same with the animal kingdom, that causes them to want to be with the same sex. So I personally think that we don't have all biology understood. So to say that it's a choice to me is a little short-sighted, because we have so many different things that happen within like, like people are born with mental retardation, people are born with missing limbs, all these different things. So to say that like it's a choice, I don't know. We don't know that. I think that people can be born a certain way. And going back to the religion thing, so if you're born a certain way and you have desires for the same sex, while that may be a sin to us, God creates everyone unique in a certain way. So I guess I can't accept that it's a choice, because there's certain things that I want, like more. It's a preference. There's certain things that I want more than other people. But to just say it's a choice, I mean, you can map the brain and see that people have certain preferences for certain things, like serial killers, for example. Like they know inside the certain parts of the cortex
Frontal cortex.
yeah, they look different than other people. Like it just in that. So like to say being a serial killer is a choice to some degree, yeah, your actions are, but you could be genetically dispositioned to act a certain way. And that's what I'm getting at as far as like the homosexuality and then the lesbianism and that whole thing. Like I guess what I'm getting at is I think that they were born this way. And to cast your finger and say, no, the way that you are is wrong. I don't agree with that. And so going back to religion, if religion says that it's wrong to lay with someone of the same sex, then that is what religion says, but that is not for us to cast that stone. That is for God to decide. So I guess I don't have I disagree with Christians as it comes to sexuality. I hope I'm making sense with that. But I don't agree that it's a choice. I think for some people it is, but I think that some people are genuinely born attracted to the same sex. And how are they supposed to navigate this world when to their core this is who they are? You know what I mean? Like so yeah, that's just kind of where I deviate from what you're thinking, Patrick. I don't think it's a choice in in a lot of instances. I think people are genuinely born attracted to the same sex, and now they're trying to navigate this world with a bunch of people who are supposed to be loving and accepting of everyone, hating on them and putting through policies that are destroying everything that they are. And going back to what Dewey said, I totally see an alignment with so the 3/5 thing and like yeah, there's white people talking the same conversation about black people wanting to vote and saying we are just people, we are people like you, we bleed just like you, whereas they like it's short-sighted to say that they weren't. So I guess what I'm saying is the world right now is short-sighted when it comes to homosexuality and lesbianism. Um,
Mm.
so yeah,
Hmm.
just some food for thought. I
Yeah,
again, so
yeah.
yeah,
It's that's why we have this diversity on this show, because we all have our points of view, and we're gonna respect each other for our viewpoints, and I'm okay with that.
yeah. I think we could keep talking about this forever, but yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here as far as like I'm curious as far as what people think about religion as it is today in America. Um, are Christians really walking the path of Christ? I'm curious as far as that question we asked, as far as um, is is your sexuality something that is determined when you're born, or is it a choice? Like some of that stuff that we talked about. As far as your point, Dewey, I really like that. As far as how you brought up, are we just talking like old people talk back towards slavery days, but just on a different topic?
Yeah, I feel like
Those are some of
I just feel like this has happened more than we know. Like all of these conversations, all of these types of situations in terms of like slavery, transgender, gay rights, women's rights, like
The
before
Holocaust.
before the 1500s there was no such thing as race. It was just people. We were all just people. And until recently.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
will
know.
I
There's
will say
there's always there's always been prejudices though, amongst people, amongst human beings, because there's always somebody that wants more than the other person has, and that's going back to the Bible. That's why Cain killed Abel, because of jealousy. So even though there wasn't race, there was still animosity amongst
Well,
each other,
that's human
and
nature.
yeah, and that's the sin. That's the sin of man, is to want more than what the next person has, and everybody has that. Everybody has that innate ability to want more than what the next person has, and the way that God wanted things to be, He wanted everyone to love each other as you love yourself. And so, but sometimes people don't love themselves, so they can't love other people. So there's so many different degrees of things going on there. So yeah.
and I just want to say that um coupling sexuality with race, while it is human issues, I think that they're two huge different things on different spectrums. And I really don't like what's going on right now with people lumping race into sexuality. Like um I don't agree with that. And I think that we just talk about America, 400 years of slavery, and then we're trying to equate that with LGBTQ issues. Those are
Mm-hmm.
not those are two separate, and I hear what you're saying, Dewey, but that's where I disagree with you. It is human issues, but at the same
Yeah.
time it's like you can't couple racism and slavery with what the persecution that people of the LGBTQ community are. They're just totally out of different ballparks. The millions of Americans that died in the Civil War, it's just not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
And then we're not
Mhm.
even talking America. We're talking like slavery as far as before America. Like, and then yes, there's people that have died because of their sexuality, but like, it's not even in the same ballpark as far as
How do we know we're not a part of that community? We don't know the facts. We only know the facts of our story because people live to tell our story. there are probably so many people throughout time that have been like
Persecuted
outcasted,
for being gay.
killed. They've probably
And
all those other things just because of their sexuality and that stuff. But we can't. I feel like we can because it's not even about because race is a made up thing, just like everything is made up. So I think we can lump it all together because it doesn't matter. It's not about whose was worse or what has gone on the longest. It's about, like you said, it's about love. So we should love people regardless of what it is, even if it is like my point of using race with sexuality is to give people different points of view because people are looking at it like it's so out of the blue, like it would never happen. But there's race. There's people who think that black people are not the same as white people, that white people are not the same as other people. It's a roundabout way of saying that your issues don't matter as much as ours do. That's all it is.
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that those issues shouldn't be put together. I guess like why don't we just couple obesity in with that? Like where do you draw the line on like attacking certain issues? Like there's a lot of human issues.
Well,
There's a lot of
obesity is a choice unless you're
But-
literally bedridden.
Mhm.
nah, genetically there are
Some-
people that like
Predisposed.
again that's what I'm saying is like you can't I think that we can attack all these issues and take care for all of these issues without lumping them together. And that's where I have a problem. It's like the whole gay marriage being lumped in with being able to do you remember that bill that just came through like
Mhm.
interracial marriage being lumped in with the gay marriage bill? Like why was that lumped together?
Because they
again,
don't
I know
care
that
about us. They don't care about us. That's why. We are numbers. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter who we are. We are numbers to the people in power. That's all we are.
The powers that be.
That's why we
and I'm
need
not
to,
disagreeing with that.
That's
I'm not
why
disagreeing with that.
we need to love each other instead of fighting each other because that's what they want. They just want us to fight each other. They don't want us
And I
focusing
agree.
on them.
Yep.
Where
Not only that,
all of this stuff is
they're
just
giving us issues
distractions.
to fight about.
Yeah,
They're giving us issues.
throwing
Exactly.
distractions.
It's like they made a big thing about white cops killing black people. Okay, but they won't talk about the black on black crime because let's not talk about that. But let's talk about cops killing black people when it's a minute, small part, and they sensationalize it on the news. But then you hear about all these shootings and killings that's going on in Chicago and Detroit and in Minneapolis when they used to call it Murderapolis. But you didn't hear about any of that stuff because
And
it's
definitely
not
didn't
newsworthy.
it definitely didn't feel that way when I was living in Minneapolis. It never felt
Yeah.
that way. It
Well,
never
I know
I
actually
feel-
because you
feels
were
that
living.
way.
No, I understand that, but you were living in it. I'm talking about outside of Minneapolis.
I know.
There were people
That's
that
what I'm
didn't hear
saying.
about the black on black crime. Yeah, because I remember a time when they were talking about this white cop killed something happened, and then the very next day, this gang member shot up this guy in his car who was another gang member and shot up and killed his kid in the back seat. You didn't hear nothing about that. You didn't hear who was that? Whoever the black activist Al Sharpton there talking about let's find out who killed this person. No, they want to go with where the sensation is, and that's what media puts that out there.
Well,
Both I ain't gonna say just
it's
one side.
also a
Both sides put it
business.
out there.
It's also a
Yeah,
business,
that's
which
what
is
you.
why they do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And they
that's where
also
the
have
money is.
agendas from the people who are telling them what to do and who are funding it, which are like
Yes.
the news corporations are funded by like the big companies.
1%ers. 1%ers.
No, not the one
But they-
percenters. Like the point
Yes.
0.0000001%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
And to me, what you just said though, Patrick, like that to me is kind of a straw man argument. Like just because black people kill black people and white people kill white people doesn't make it okay for cops to kill black people or cops to
I
kill
agree.
white people.
I
You know,
I
and
agree.
and that
I
like-
totally agree with that. But
and
why can't we put the same effort into finding out. And here's the thing for me, because I know this for a fact. In our community, in my community, there's a saying: "Snitches need stitches." What does that mean?
Keep your mouth shut. Candyman.
Yes, keep your mouth shut. So if we in the black community see a crime happen, we know all the information. We know who did it, when they did it, how they did it, but we are not supposed to say anything. But we want the cops to solve that crime, but they can't. And then we talk about, oh, you don't solve the crime because you don't like our community. No, you don't solve the crime because you won't come forward and tell what you've seen, because it's inherently told in our community. Keep your mouth shut if you see something.
But why? Why is it inherently told in our community?
Because that's what's been taught from generation to generation. We learn how to be who we are from our environment, from our people. We learn
Yeah,
how to be that way. I didn't learn
but
to be
why?
that way because my dad didn't teach me to be that way. But in that community, I know I have family members that are like that. That, hey, I ain't saying that I ain't gonna be no snitch, but you know all the information that they need to put this person away. Why won't you say
And
anything? But they won't.
see, there's a social contract, and in my opinion, the social contract has been broken, and that's like we have history to show us what's going on, like the amount of like just between law enforcement, the creation of law enforcement. I mean, law enforcement was created to round up slaves. That's what police were created to do. Like the entire
Overseers, exactly. That's
they
what they call
they were
overseers. They're
meant
now
to
called officers. Yes,
they were meant to go get slaves and bring them back.
yes, yes.
So like and that might be actually a good conversation for another podcast, as far as like how do we help, how does the black community get better? How do they get past this? Because I think that a lot of the issues that the black community faces is cultural. But I think that culture was created by years of oppression, way back when. But how do you get that mentality of, like you said, we don't talk? Because like if there's a crime in a white community, they're gonna tell
They
the police officer what.
snitching. They're the ones.
Yeah,
They're
they're
the
gonna
ones
do it
Yeah,
that
quick.
yeah,
Yes,
they'll go to
yes.
yeah.
they'll go to the office with all the
But hold
information.
on. Not just black community, in the Asian community, in the Jewish community, they will talk. And why is that?
Because they're
And Jewish people
because
have been
trust,
oppressed more. Jewish people have been oppressed more than black people have. They were almost exterminated.
not in America.
So maybe regard in the world they were, but and
We're
they
talking
were,
about
and
America.
I understand. In the Asians, when Pearl Harbor took place, they were put in concentration camps and all that stuff, and they were suppressed and all that stuff. So why have they risen higher than the black community? Because, and I'll tell you why. Maybe like you said, we can do this on another podcast. I can tell you why.
Yeah.
Back in the '60s, what happened in the '60s? Why the black community is kind of where it's at right now? But there is, it's like it's America's given black folks a crutch to be who they are, but people have risen to be higher than what they are, and they can do better. But a lot. I know a lot of black. It's called generational welfare. The government has put that out there for the black community to take advantage of, and we need to get
Mhm.
off of the welfare and start standing on our
Mhm.
own 2 feet.
But at the same time, and I'll end with this because I know we could go on a whole nother tangent, and I think we
Yes.
should talk about this. But the way I look at it is, if you have a swimming pool and you have two swimmers and you have a race going on, and you let one of those swimmers basically have a 400
Head
meter
start.
head start, and you tell that other person to jump in and swim, you need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and catch that other guy. Like it doesn't work that way. So what's happened in America is we have these institutions, and we have, I'll be honest, the white community has had a 400-year start on African Americans in the black community. We're basically running a race, and not only the pool didn't exist. The pool didn't even exist. The pool was built during this 400-year span. So not only is the racer got a 400-year head start, the actual pool that was built for that racer while they were racing. And then you tell this black racer to just jump in this white created foundation pool and you tell them to catch up to them. And that's where I don't agree with the idea of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and that it's equal for everybody, because it really isn't. And so what the answer is to getting those racers even, I don't know the solution to that. But maybe we can talk about that on another podcast.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. Hold on. No. Don't
Go.
pose a
I
question.
just gonna ask one question. No. Go ahead.
We gotta
Say
end. We gotta end. We're already at 1:45. We're a half hour over. We can pose questions all on the next episode.
Oh, this is getting good.
Write them down.
Getting good. It's getting good, y'all.
Yep. It's getting good.
We can have more time to talk about it. But
so
hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed our different points of views. It's been fun. We will be hopefully recording another one next Sunday. Maybe we'll get out the actual first podcast soon here. So when you're seeing this, it should already be out. But
I've sent the last podcast to a lot of people.
Other than that, we will see you all on the next one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
GD out.